Joan Quinn Profiles. As an editor for Andy Warhol's Interview, the Los Angeles Herald-Examiner, LA Style, and Detour magazines, Joan covered the social set, the Hollywood hotshots, the international art scene, the mysteries of food, the excitement of travel, and the fabulous world of fashion. Joan continues to find creative people on the cutting edge who make things happen. Here's Joan Agajanian Quinn.
Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and welcome to the Joan Quinn Profiles. Waiting to be profiled are playwright, poet Velina Hasu Houston and Michelle Monroe, who designs luxury jewelry and fashionable handbags for all occasions. Playwright, poet, screenwriter Velina Hasu Houston was born on a military ship en route from Japan to the U.S. and raised in Junction City, Kansas. I don't know how she got there, she'll tell us. She graduated with a Bachelor of Arts in Journalism at Kansas State University, a Master of Fine Arts from UCLA School of Theater, and a PhD from USC School of Cinema Arts. Felina is a professor, associate dean, and resident playwright at USC, where she founded the graduate playwriting program. Her awards are many, ranging from the Japan Foundation, the Rockefeller Foundation, to the California Arts Council, where I was on for many years. And her more than 30 plays have been on a variety of stages from New York to China. Where do we start? It took me so long to read your bio that I thought, what are we going to do? Talk about your name and background.
Well, my name, Velina, actually is a Lithuanian name.
Oh,
so,
we've
and also
added
used in
something
Bulgaria,
else.
right? Has nothing to do with my own cultural background, but my mother is from southern Japan. She's from Matsuyama, Japan, which is on the island of Shikoku. And my father is from the southern United States, and he's African-American and Native American Indian, and also Cuban in background.
So you have a big mix.
Everything, yes, everything but Jewish, although my stepsons are Jewish, so I have that too.
What is Hasu?
Hasu is a Japanese name. It means, the character for it, the kanji, is the lotus root, but it means lotus, basically.
And then Houston is...
Houston was my father's
just a huge southern name.
Southern name, yes, just like Houston, Texas, the only town that I don't have to spell it in.
Ah, yeah, exactly.
Right.
And not like John Houston, H-U-S.
No, and not like Houston in Manhattan.
That's right.
Spell the same. But.
So with this mix of backgrounds, did you choose one or two to go after and cultivate?
Well, I mean, my father died when I was relatively young, so I was raised by my mother, and she only knew how to raise us one way, which is a sort of provincial Japanese way.
So that was that.
Yeah, so, that was culturally, that. Yeah, I mean, given the fact that I'm racially mixed and the way that I look, certainly out in society, I had all kinds of different experiences about, you know, are you from South America? Are you West Indian? Are you Hawaiian? Are you
Brazilian?
You're Sri Lankan,
right,
Brazilian,
right.
Whatever it was. But upbringing at home was very traditionally Japanese, which was an interesting juxtaposition to be culturally Japanese, but to go out into an American society that saw me many different ways.
Did you speak Japanese?
Yes, I
Oh,
did.
you did. She did the...
Yes.
She did the whole thing.
Well, she did for a while, and then she stopped because the school teacher said, this is going to interfere with your daughter's learning English. And so she became frightened, and so she stopped. But then later on, we started again. So I'm not 100% fluent, but I speak pretty well.
Have you gone back?
Yes,
to those?
Yes, I go back many. I've been back many times, and my trips are frequent. Probably at least every other year, I go back.
And then, as far as visiting the South, was there family with your father? Still or not?
No, there wasn't. In fact, my father's family was estranged from him after he married my mother.
Oh, because they didn't want him to marry a Japanese woman.
Exactly. And so...
But I saw, when I was looking up on your website, this whole photograph of all these little Japanese ladies.
Yes,
They were
yes,
like young girls.
Yes, yes.
And all African American, or were they mixed?
Yeah, they were all African American, and that's
the men,
yes,
big,
yes.
handsome, big men.
That photo is probably from 1950, and it was taken at a picnic at a park in Tokyo.
Is that?
Yes, and my parents are on the very far side of the photo, but the other girls were. I don't know any of the women.
Oh, you didn't ever.
No. Except for one of them. One of them did marry an American, the man she's standing with in the picture, and they came to Kansas as well. So
Why
I knew them growing up.
Kansas?
Well, I asked myself that question too when I was researching one of my earlier
Why
plays.
not California?
Absolutely. Well, what I've discovered is that the Army, there were two reasons. One is that Kansas was actually a free state during slavery times, and so it was, even though we think of it as conservative, it actually took a very liberal stance during post-slavery times. And they never had any laws against interracial marriage, as did many states.
Yeah, because that was early on, wasn't it? Yes, it
exactly.
was.
And also the Army, I believe, wanted to keep the large concentrations of Japanese women away from the West Coast, where there were established Japanese American communities. And
there were already, but there were also concentration camps, or whatever the camps were there.
But this, of course, was after the war. These families started arriving, and so I think that they didn't want to fortify the Japanese American communities, so they sent them elsewhere.
Very interesting. Were you writing then? In Kansas?
I was writing. I started writing when I was 11 years old.
Oh, that's what I wondered. And what were you writing at that time?
Probably very bad poetry.
Oh, you were?
I was writing poetry mostly, and then I wrote my first play when I was 11, a very short play, inspired by a woman from Boston who suggested to me that she said, your poetry is very visual. Why don't you try writing a play? And I said, that's interesting. And she gave me plays to read. I think one of the first plays I read was The Cherry Orchard by Anton Chekhov.
Really?
And then I became crazy about Chekhov, reading all the Chekhov I could, and then I wrote my first one-act play.
So when did it turn into a serious career?
Well, probably at that juncture between leaving undergraduate education in Kansas and going on to graduate school, because I had every intention of going to law school.
Oh, I see.
And
really?
Yes, I did. And in fact, I find this pattern a lot with creative writers.
I was going to say it would have been creative, though, because if you're a good writer in law school, you can really do well.
No, absolutely. And I find that I get a lot of lawyers who come back to study dramatic writing, or people who were going to go to law school but changed their minds, which was my story.
Which was you.
Yes. So I came to UCLA to go to graduate school, and I think somewhere in those latter undergraduate years, I just decided that I had to do this. I was compelled to write for the stage.
But all the rest of your education takes place in the cinema department and in the theater arts departments of those warring colleges, UCLA and SC. You covered them both.
Well, I always say that I am, biracial, bi-campus, everything.
You've got it taken care of. I think I know we want to talk about calligraphy, but I want to talk about the commission, the DNA trail. I thought that was so interesting.
A very exciting project. This was a brainchild of Jamil Khoury, who runs Silk Road Theater Project in Chicago, and he created an association with the Goodman Theater in
Fantastic.
Chicago. Yes,
fantastic.
Wonderful people. And so they commissioned, I think there's 7 of us, to write short plays about DNA-related stories.
Oh, that's what it was. 7 different plays.
7 different plays.
I see.
And in order to do the project, we had to agree to take a DNA test to start the project.
Is that right?
And to share our information with each other. And so...
But why would that be? What would your DNA show?
Well,
your background?
Yes, the DNA will show your deep ancestry going back about 60,000 years.
I see. So they all came in with the same deep ancestry.
Yes.
Some was it Indian and
Indian, Chinese, Japanese, Syrian. So we had people with many different backgrounds.
I see.
Both Central Asia, Western Asia, and Far Eastern Asia.
I see. So that was interesting.
It was fascinating, and also it bonded the playwrights together as a family, because we learned about each other's deep histories.
It's exciting. I want to know about that. The other thing that I thought was really interesting is your commission for the LA Opera.
Yes.
The 110 play. What does that mean?
Life in Los Angeles as related to the freeways, the impact that the freeways have, their history.
Oh, the 110?
The 110, yes, exactly. And the 110 was the first freeway.
Oh.
And so
we because it said 1-10,
yes.
So I didn't realize it was the freeway.
Right.
Very interesting.
And there's all kinds of ways that the number works, and we're trying to make it 110 minutes, and all sorts of things. So
that's fantastic, and it'll be music.
Music, yes, with a composer. So we're chatting with composers now, and we're very excited.
Really?
Project, yes. So.
And the T.
T. My play T, it's
TEA?
TEA.
Not
been with
T
me-
golf.
No, not T golf. It's been with me a long time. I wrote the play back in 1982, my very first draft. Produced world premiere at Manhattan Theater Club in 1987. And we're coming upon the 25th anniversary of the play.
But that's how great Manhattan Theater Club is, to take something like that has life and
Absolutely.
that continues. I think they're great.
They
too.
were wonderful, and they invested a lot of time and energy in helping me to develop the project.
Let's talk about calligraphy, because it's being directed by John Lawrence Rivera, one of our favorite directors,
Yes.
at the LA Theater. What is it? LA Theater
LA
Company?
Theater Center. LA Theater Center, and it's produced by John's company, Playwrights Arena, as well as Latino theater company, Jose Luis Valenzuela.
Oh,
So,
I see.
John and I have had a long journey with the play. He directed a workshop of it at USC for their Visions and Voices program, and Luis Alfaro was our dramaturg.
Our favorite. We love Luis.
Well, the three of us together have had just a wonderful ride with the play. And between John and Jose Luis, it came to LATC. So it opened November 12th, and I have an incredible cast of actors, wonderful designers.
What does it calligraphy do?
Well, calligraphy, the title comes from the notion of when we paint with calligraphy, the ink is very bold and vibrant at first.
Japanese.
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 Yeah, well, with any calligraphy,
With
it's
anything,
true,
right.
certainly. And then over time, the ink starts to fade. In the same way that we do as human beings.
Right.
And so in the play, I look at two generations of women, two daughters who are cousins, and their mothers, who of course are sisters, and one family lives in Tokyo and one in Los Angeles. And the play looks at, if I could say, aging with grace and humor for the older women, but also how the changes in their mothers' lives affect the daughters' lives. And I look for the humor that is ever present in life, but the underbelly of the play is rich with pathos and deeper meanings that it seems resonates across cultures.
I think what's happening so much that we're finally looking at the aging process.
Yes.
And in so many different ways, because nobody's ever wanted to really face that head on.
Right.
And so this is just one of many things, your play. I thought the other thing that Luis Alfaro directed, it was a reading of Life and Times of a Tragic...
Yes, he directed The Life and Times of the Tragic Mulatto, yes.
That was written by you too.
Yes, that, in that play, I'm trying to look at the notion of what it is to be of mixed race in America, particularly for someone who is embracing all of their identities and not trying to, select one or the other because it's an easier path.
But that's what I was asking you in
Yes,
the beginning.
absolutely.
I think we came all the way full circle
Yes.
to see what you followed the most.
Yes.
But the idea of facing the elderly, facing old age, and also facing your cultural background
Yes.
is all finally at the top of the heap.
Oh, absolutely. I was in Syracuse, New York, working on tea, and I faced an audience that were all blonde, blue-eyed people, and I thought, what are they going to ask me about tea, which is, 5 Japanese women are featured in the play. Well, this lovely woman asked the first question, and she said, she made a statement. She said, even though I have no Japanese relationship whatsoever, she goes, I really related to this play. She said, because my mother is aging, my mother came from Germany, and she said, I grew up with all of these different German customs, and they were wonderful for me, but I've not repeated them in my children's generation. She said, and I have to do that.
So true. We haven't done that. We forget to do that.
We forget traditions. Right.
Yeah. Well, I think it's been so great to have you on as a
you.
guest.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you for coming. And don't go away. We'll be right back with red hot red carpet designer Michelle Monroe. Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and welcome back to the Joan Quinn Profiles. I'm here with Michelle Monroe, who grew up in Redondo Beach, went to Lawndale High School, and 8 years later was a fashion designer of bags and jewelry to the stars. Red carpet stuff, I don't know. Her work has been featured in People, Vogue, Cosmo, InStyle, among other magazines, and you can see it in boutiques across America, but it can also be bought in these very upscale places from coast to coast in the big cities like Dallas and Chicago and New York. So she sells internationally, which is really great, in Greece and Japan. And Michelle, tell us how this really got started. This is a great story.
It is a great story, and it's been a long haul, Joan. It's been a long haul. Quite a roller coaster ride, but may I say the best.
But it sounds like you just got started. How did you get started? In high school?
Actually, I always dabbled in jewels, and I love anything that's very glittery and bodacious, and especially unique. I look for the unique things that you can find.
Did you sew with your mother?
I did.
You
yes,
did?
Yes, I did. I sewed at a very, very young age.
Oh, so you had that
hands-on, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And were you hip and happening in high school?
I'd have to be honest, no, I wasn't.
You weren't?
Unfortunately, I wasn't.
Now you're hip and happening.
Well, thank you. Yes.
And what were your influences as you were, dabbling in all this glittery stuff?
Oh my gosh, several designers. My trips to Europe, to France and Spain, and just finding out exactly what I liked.
So those were your college trips.
Yes.
Instead of going to college, you went to Europe and saw things. That's really more hands-on, isn't it?
It is, absolutely. Because you see things that nobody can teach you or read out of a book or anything. The visual thing it's very important to actually see it on.
Did you start with jewelry or with bags or with belts or with clothes? What did you do?
I actually started with jewelry. And I started it many, many years ago. And I tried to make a go of it, and it was just not possible. It was not doable.
What were you making?
I was making jewelry.
Like
earrings and necklaces. And at the time, that was back in the 80s, later 80s, and it was all leather and Swarovski rhinestones and what have you. But, things always set me back, family or.
You mean just different things?
Exactly. Working with my husband in his business, we started from scratch, and I was in charge of everything from payroll to, so that's where I feel like I've got my business sense from.
Yes, you do.
My husband now has a very successful company. And
in what, in manufacturing?
No, not in manufacturing. He has a specialty business in construction.
Oh, in construction.
Mm-hmm.
So I was going to ask if he built any of the workshops for you to work in.
Absolutely.
He did?
Absolutely,
Oh,
yes.
good.
Bless his heart.
Oh, good.
Bless
We've got
his
this.
heart. Yes, he did. In fact, I started on my dining room table, went into my garage, and he said, enough of this, I just can't deal with this. So being the general contractor that he is, he built me a 1,600 square foot studio, which is absolutely wonderful.
And
wonderful.
so then did that get you on your way?
Absolutely. That and meeting the right people.
But I like the story that you were gutsy enough to go in with your work to a boutique to sell it. And you did.
Oh, yes, I did. In fact, I'd like to share who that was.
Oh, tell us about that.
Yes, it was Jennifer Kaufman. I worked with her several years. And she, several years back, was very well known for working with the stars, Paramount Studios. And she is located in the Beverly Center, and the store is called Jennifer Kaufman.
And you just went to her, and you didn't know her?
No, I didn't. I just heard a lot of great things about her, and I heard if you've got the right product, she's always looking for things.
It is. And there, how do you get to a celebrity? How do you get a celebrity to wear something of yours?
I work with a lot of stylists.
That's the key, right?
That's the key.
I'm going to just show a couple of these pictures while you're talking, and you can tell me who they are.
Yeah, that's Andrea Patterson, and I believe she is in the magazine Newport right now.
And she's wearing, wait a minute, what's she wearing of yours?
She's wearing my cuff.
Okay.
Yes. And this is Paris Hilton, and she is wearing my snake necklace, as you can see right here.
Oh, and it's right down
Yes,
here.
it is. It's right here.
Uh-huh.
And she's actually on the red carpet for Desperate Housewives of Beverly Hills very recently.
So all of this goes actually through with the stylist, comes to you.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. They're looking for certain products.
I see.
You know, and a lot of times it's just, you know, exactly, it might be just the right fit.
And this?
This is also Andrea Patterson, and she's got my earrings on.
Beautiful.
And she's also got my ring on.
Okay, and this one?
Oh my gosh, well that's my girl. Yeah, she's the one that's really doing quite a bit now. This is Mariah Carey. And
the earrings.
Yes. Well,
because we've seen those earrings on her everywhere.
Well, and she was wearing actually 2 pairs. This is the first pair that started the whole buzz with Mariah Carey.
It's an oblong rather than a hoop.
Isn't it? And look how gorgeous this is. I mean, it's
And
very
what's
unique.
in it?
They're all hand-set Swarovski rhinestones. There's about 2,000 hand-set Swarovski rhinestones.
And what are they set in?
They're set in, the base metal is 25% sterling and some, you know, tin base, and then the outside is all rhodium and lithium.
Oh, because they look like smart diamond earrings.
Well, that's what they're supposed to look like. You know, they're
do.
supposed to be one of the best replicas.
Here's a really great looking.
Yes, this is also Mariah, and she wore my earrings on her latest video, Oh Santa, which is being, you know, plastered all over the place.
So do you design the hoops, and you design these diamond earrings that Mariah's wearing?
Yes, I do.
And the cuffs?
And the cuffs. I do cuffs as well.
You do and these necklaces that we have up here?
Right.
Tell us a little bit about them.
This particular set here was actually worn by Brooke with Dancing with the Stars. She's worn several of my pieces, including the cuff that I have on. This cuff, I love this cuff because it's versatile. You can wear this cuff one way with aquamarine rhinestones, and it's all open swirls, and then it's your white crystals. And then for being a little conservative, you can twist it around the other side.
Conservative.
Yeah, I know.
This is like, I don't think Meryl.
Yeah, I don't think I could do conservative, right?
Michelle is not conservative.
No.
But tell me some of the, for the bags, the materials that you use, because we have a beautiful display of bags here.
We do. My handbags are all handmade, number one.
Let's
I'm very
start
proud
with
of this
this.
one. And this is all leather from Italy. The body is actually all Italian leather. And then the outside is rooster feathers.
Beautiful.
Thank
and here's
you.
another lavender one.
Oh, yes. And this is my new box clutch that I'm really making a big bang with. And it's got all Swarovski rhinestones on the outside.
Front,
Yeah, all these are all hand-set Swarovski rhinestones. The knobs are hand Swarovski. This is all Italian lambskin.
Oh, beautiful.
And to open it opens very nicely and shuts.
Ooh, it shuts by itself.
Yes, it has a
like
magnetic
it's
closure,
magnetic, right.
self-closure. And you can see the inside of this one very nicely. It has a place for your credit card, your $100 bill.
Oh, how great.
And your lipstick.
And the one
Oh
hanging?
my gosh, this is the ultimate Titanic. And
Gorgeous.
this is actually a piece of art. This is all lambskin, the leather's from Italy. And then we actually do a treatment on this where it's all silver plated, which is the same technique that we use for gold leafing. So it's an actual silver leafing. And that's
what are these tassels?
Oh my God, these are all Swarovski tassels, all hand beaded.
So you can't make all of these by hand yourself.
No, you can't.
I mean, because it would take too much time. You have so much here.
I do.
So do you tell them, your people who help you, what to do? How do you do that? Or you send it out somewhere?
Oh, no, no, no. Everything is done by hand in my studio. Nothing leaves the studio. We have a great team now. We all know exactly what we're doing.
I see.
One girl may do the handset of the stones, another may specialize in the beads. You know, and it just goes forward to that point.
Did you take lessons in making jewelry?
Somewhat, yes, I did. I must say I
you?
did. Yes, I did.
So you
I
took like craft classes? Or?
Yes, I did, but I think that a lot of it too is just, I feel like with most people that I've been really blessed with a special gift.
Because you know what
and
to do?
that's what it takes.
Do you take special orders?
Oh, yes, I do.
You do?
Yes, I do. Yes,
So
I do.
if somebody comes to you and says, oh, I've got Cher walking down the runway before her next film after burlesque, will you make her something?
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
so then you have a conference with the stylist and...
Right, yes.
Because this is fantastic. It's 14 karat gold feathers.
Well, the feather, yes,
I mean,
yes, yes. It's feathers, okay, and it's actually peasant feathers, and then we have to actually hand do the gold stamping. So every one of these pieces are all 14 karat gold stamped.
Oh my God!
And it's quite a work. The top is
so
all
beautiful.
Swarovski crystals.
And this one, I love this.
Yes.
It's all hand swirled.
Yes, this is the rosette one, which is probably my most expensive piece, and it's
Give
ours.
us an idea how
okay.
much these are. What kind of range are we talking about?
We're talking about from anywhere from about $350 retail to about $900 retail.
Oh, we are.
Yes.
So somebody has to save a lot of pennies.
They do. They do. But you know, it's the woman that is looking for something that's very unique, and you know, she doesn't mind spending it because.
And to carry that with her. Now, one of the things I know you talked about are the materials, and you hand-pick the leathers and the feathers. Where do you go to find those things?
The leather comes from Italy.
Do you dye it then, or do you pick out the colors?
We basically pick out the base color, just like with this one. This was just a silver, and then we turned it into like a marbleized metallic.
I see.
You know, and then the stones I get from New York.
Did you, and what else were we talking, leather, feathers? Feathers we were talking about.
Yeah, the feathers, a lot of the feathers I have actually custom dyed for me as well.
I see.
And
like this one.
yeah, and that's actually turkey feathers. And most of my pieces are not endangered. I mean, these are actually, this is the bottom, the back part of the turkey, and these actually shed out of the turkey.
We don't have to worry that we're going to ruin this by holding it?
No, no, absolutely
They're
not.
so great.
Yes.
Oh, and I'm so glad you came to show us this.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, and I'm so glad that you have had me.
Thank you. And thank you for watching the show today. Keep writing to 777 South Figueroa, 44th floor, Los Angeles 90017, and we'll see you next time. If you email me, JAQUINN1 @AOL.com, we will email you back.